Today's daf is Masechus Nedarim, Daf Nuntes. So we are at the top line, the very last word on the line. So the Gemara now is going to ask a kasha on the shita of Rabbi Yanai that argues on Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yonasan that we had on the last daf. What is Rabbi Yanai shita? Rabbi Yanai shita is that in a batil, onion of truma, if you planted it and the gedulin grew on top of it, on top of the ikr, then the halacha is that it's poka from the ikr, the shem truma, even though there's no isser truma chal al yidei karka. Still he holds that the gidul takes away the isser from the ikr, which is truma. So frek the Heilig Gemara. Masav Rav Mecham asked the question. The Mishnah says before, we had a Mishnah on Daf Zayin Amud Aleph. What did the Mishnah say? If somebody sees Paris and he says, Koinim Paris Elo Alai, if he asers these Paris on him, but he does not aser the whole min, he just says, these Paris are aser, or the Paris were in front of him and he says, Koinim Hein Alpi, they are aser on me, or he says, Koinim Hein Lifi, which is also a lashon that he's asering the Paris on himself. So in all these cases, the halacha is that it's aser, you're aser b'chilufein, even if you exchange a Paris for something else, then it's aser b'ano, and you're aser b'gudulein. Shani oichol shani time. What happens if somebody says that he's asking himself achila and ti'ima of anavim? Then the halacha is he's mutter b'chilufein and b'gudulein. He's a mutter in whatever he exchanges for it. Why? Because he only asked at the time. B'davish azar kakala. So that he's mutter if it's only a zari kala. So only b'davish azar kala, because the zera of the pri goes away before the gedulim comes. So you're not being toyim in the gedulim anything from the etzem pri that you ask on yourself. But in something that it's not zari kala, for instance, shomo b'tzalim, garlic or batzal, where the ikr stays. So then the halacha is gidulin asurin, even things that grow out of the things that grow out of it. I mean, if you planted something and it had gidulin and grew on top of it, and then you use that and you plant something else, that everything's still asur. Why? Because you still have part of the ikr isser. So l'chor, what do you see from this? There's a shver on Rabbi Yanai. Rabbi Yanai says that gedule batil truma that you plant is mevatel the ikr isser truma that's inside the ikr. The gedule mevatel ikr, so it's clearly not like the Mishnah we had in Zayin. And for the Gemara, Amar Abba says shani koinamois. Koinamois is different. That it's not mevatel the ikr. Because if you want, you could ask, you could matter if you go to a chacham, either pesach or charata. So it has a din like davash yesh matirin, and the halach is by davash yesh matirin. We already spoke out on the last daf. The ain batal b'roiv, because there is a way that you have the ability to eat it with the regular heter. So the halach is not batal b'roiv. In fact, the Gemara of our truma di boy mitchala truma that if you already mafresh truma, that if you want you could be shoyal on the peiros that you mafresh ayidei pesach acharata, just like by Nedarim, and it can go back to its original state of tevel and still receive a batli beroiv, and it's not considered davash yesh matirin by truma. The Tanan we see in the Mishnah in Trumis Perikei Mishnah Aleph. Saw truma tameya, saw a measurement, saw of truma tameya, of tamei de truma that is aser ba'achila even the koyanim. Shanaf lo pachs memeya falls into pachs memeya of a saw of chulin. So the halacha is terakev, that you just let it go to waste. So Zakti for Gemara's Medayik, Hala Meya, but if it does fall into a measurement of Meya Chulin, the halacha is Tala. Then the Truma Tameya is Batal and Taruvis, and the whole thing is Mutar Ba'achila. So L'chayra, Truma, even though you see that you could be shoyal on it when it's kaddish, and you can be machzer l'chulim. The chol zayis you see that it's not considered davar yishal matir, and rather you'd say that it's batal b'tarufus, is more than meya. So how come I kainamis? You should say the same thing. Even though you could be shoyal, you should consider a davar she'ein l'matirin, and not like Rabba said that kainamis is different. Everything Gemara, Amri, Bnei Yeshiva said, B'truma b'yad koyin askina. We're talking about, you could say that the Mishnah is talking about that the truma was already given to koyin, and by the koyin it got mixed with chulin, the lemmatz mitzvah. So in that case, you can't be shoyal on the truma anymore. The mafresh cannot be shoyal on truma once it is already given to koyin. Why? Because it already ran out as rishos. He already gave it to the koyin. So mela is not considered davar she'ein lematirin. And the halacha is batal in May of Chulin. And merely you can't answer in Rabba from this Mishnah and Trumas. So Yihachi, freaking Gemara on this teretz of the Bnei Yeshiva, Yihachi, freaking Gemara, that's talking about Truma that was mixed in when it was ready by the Kohen, Eima Seifa, saying the Seifa. What does the Seifa say? Eima Hoisa Tahira. If the Truma that fell into Pachas May of Chulin was Tahar, which is mutter to kayanim, timacher lekayin, then the taruvas should be sold to a kayin. So I'm sorry. So if the truma that fell in was tahira and it fell into chulin, then it should be sold to a kayin, the whole taruvas. So fracting Gemara, if it's talking about when it got mixed in when it's by the kayin, then he can eat it himself. What's Pshat the Sefer the Mishnah says you should sell it to a kayin. It's already by a kayin, according to what the Bnei Yeshiva said. So Dr. Gemara, the Gemara is trying to be miyashiv it. Ella, you could say, be Yisrael shenafaloi base avi imay kayin askina. The Gemara is saying, yeah, Itaka did fall in. Itaka when he went out from the shus of Yisrael that he was mafresh, however, in a slightly different scenario. So what happened? Be Yisrael shenafaloi base avi imay kayin askina. It's talking about Yisrael that felt it felt to him paris of truma from base avi imay, from his mother's father, which was a kayin, and the truma it fell to the grandson, and the grandfather already passed away, and his daughter's son Yarshin, which was a Yisrael, and he could be shoyal on the truma, and he can't be shoyal on the truma. Why? Because it went out of Rishus Mafresh, right? Because he died. Not because he died, because already given to Kayin, the mafresh is no longer here. So that's why it can no longer be shoyal on, and the Yairish also cannot eat from the taruvis because he's a Yisrael. Only his grandfather is a Kayin. So therefore, the Sefer says that you should sell it to a Kayin. In this case, where the grandson is a Yisrael and the grandfather was a Kayin, it should sell it to a Kayin. For the Gemara, l'chayr, it's not possible to say that this is the case in the Mishnah. Why? Because Aktani Seifa Timachar l'chayin chutzin me'oisasa. Because it says in the Seifa that you should sell to a kayin besides for the money of that sa. The Seifa says that the person that's purchasing the taruvis, it says that he doesn't have to pay for the whole taruvis because it doesn't all belong to the person that was giving it to the Kayin. So if it's talking about such a case where a grandson got a Yerusha from his grandfather that was a Kayin, l'chayr, it did all belong to the grandson. So why does it say that why does it say in the Seifa that he's tamachal l'Kayin chutz and me'os yisrael? Why does he not? What the guy should pay for the entire taruvis because all that belonged to the grandson. So the Gemara goes back and Gemara wants to say another tar. Ella Ema, I'll tell you that there's a difference between a Nedarim and Truma. He asked me a question from Truma, the Boy Mitchell to Kainamois, where Abba said that it has a din Davar She'ein Matir, and the Chayyim says something about Truma. The Taretz is Ela Ema Bishleim Kainamois. There's a good reason to say that it's Davar She'ein Matirin. Because over there is a good reason to say that you're going to be shoyal on it, because the mitzvah l'shuli alehen. Because the mitzvah to be shoyal on it. Minastam, you say that if you have kainamois, then probably somebody's going to be shown, and therefore you consider like a davar sheish matir and it's not batal. And the reason why is a mitzvah to be shown kana is mishum the Rav Nosson, because of the Rav Nosson. What does Rav Nosson say? Rav Nosson. Nosson says, Kala noider. Anybody that puts isurim on himself besides for the isurim that the Torah already put on him. So Kala noider. Anybody that makes Nedarim on himself asks more than the Torah already asks. Kilu bana bama. It's as if he builds a bamas b'shas isra fakravas karbanis makar carbon b'shas isra bamas v'makaymai. What about if somebody's mekayim in neder that he made and he does not go to chacham to mater? Ki'ilu makter alel. It's as if he's a makter carbon on his bama, and he's chay would be chayav on his aktar of shchutei chutz as a negative thing. So therefore, it's a mitzvah to be shoyal on nedarim because of Rav Nosson's meimra. But truma, however, it is possible. Dr. Gemara, you're right that you could be shoyal, but my mitzvah l'tshulei. Where is there a mitzvah to be shown it? And since there's no mitzvah to be shown it, you don't say it's oimed as lakach, and therefore it's not considered. We're not machshav it like a davar sheish matir. So very fundamental difference the Gemara is saying over here. Zakta Hela Gemara Gufa. The Gemara goes back to discuss the words of Rabbi Yochanan that we said that gedulim is mevatlim ikar. Amar Rabbi Yochanan says, litra b'tzalm shetikna. If you have a litra, which is like a measurement of onions that you masak in it, that you mafresh trumas and maisers, who's raw and you've planted it in a field, then noise and then misaseres of yikulas halach, and it grew. You put our land in a field and it grew from that a lot of b'tzalm. Halacha is misaseres lefikula. You have to give meiser on the gedulim and on the ikar, although you already gave meiser, you already mafresh meiser from the ikar. Zakting Gemara, Yosef Rabba sat down with Karmelo Shmaitz, and he said this Shmaitz of Rabbi Yochanan. Amar le Rav Chizda. Rav Chizda said, Man soes lach Rabbi Yochanan Rabach. Who's listening? He's saying like this is a tmiya. This memra. Who's listening? Who's following this psak? Heter shebehen lehichan halach. Why should you go back on mafresh on the first litra? L'chayra, you was already mutter, you already gave Trumas Maisis on it. Then it's true that the Gedulim came and the new ones are Chayiv and Meiser, and that's the Royev, but it's not a reason to Mechayiv, the old one, that you already Mekayim your mitzvah and mafresh Trumas Maisis on. So what's the pshat? And for the Gemara, Amar Lei, so Rabbah told him. So Rav Chisda asked Rabbah, so man says, who's listening to this halacha Rabbi Yochanan? So Rabbah told him, Miloi Tanan, Amar Le, Rabbah told him, Miloi Tanan Dechvasa, didn't we learn in the Mishnah, in Shvius Parak Vav Mishnah Go, Mitzalm Sheyardaling Yisham, Mitzalm, if you have onions of Shishis, that the Iker is from Shishis, and then you replanted them in Shvius, and it's Yardaling B'Shamim V'Tzimchu, and rainwater falls in it, and they sprout again, and they grow. And it says over there, if it depends, if the leaves were black, then you say Vada it's yonik from the karka and it's aser because it's yonik from karka of shviyas. But Hayriku, you say that it's a siman that it came from the lachlucha, says on the bottle and it's mutter. Says Dr. Rabba, v'chishchayrin amay asurin. If it's shchayrin, why is it aser? Lema heter shebehen lahichan halach. Why don't you tell me the same thing? We had a heter from shishis, so and then you replanted in shvius. So at least that heter should not be aser. That should be mutter because that's really the ikr is really mutter. Whatever was going in shishis. So frekt the Gemara, frekt Rabba, married the Shaila. The Tana in the Mishnah should have just said that the gidol is aser, but the ikr is mutter. And the fact that he said that everything is aser is mashma not like he said. Is mashma not like Rav Chizda's kasha. Rather, you say that if it has a gidol that is a roiv, then you say that the roiv is mishapech and becomes a nayazach, and everything is nigra. Even the ikr, which is be'etzem heter, is nigra basa the gedulim. Amar lei, so Rav Chizda wants to tell Rabba, no, mi savrit. Mi savra al ikr katani. Are you going to say that the Tana that says it's shchayr and then it's aser is going on the ikr? And he's trying to say that that's also aser like a gedulim? No. A toisefes katani. This is a Tana saying shchayr is aser is only on toisefes, only on the gedulim. Asurin. Frakti Gemara on Rav Chizda's teretz, Ihachi, that the Tana in the Mishnah is saying Asurin is only going to Tosefes on the Gedulim, my Asur Rav Shimon Gamliel Meimar. What's Rav Shimon Gamliel coming to say? Why? Because of Tanya, we learned in a Brisa, Gabit is din, and Batzal Shishish that not to, that you plant on Shvias. Rav Shimon Gamliel says, Hagadol B'chiyav. Rav Shimon Gamliel says, Hagadol B'chiyav, Chayiv, and Hagadol Potter is Potter. Rav Shimon Gamliel says, it says no. Whatever grows b'chiv on the 7 in the shvias, that's aser. Whatever grew, the ikar, which is there from the 6 years, part of the Gemara. What do you mean? According to Rav Chizda, Tanakama Nami Hachi Amar, Nami Hachi Amar. So what's Rav Shimon Gamliel being moisav on Tanakama? So al karchach you have to say that dafka according to Rav Shimon Gamliel, the gidol is pater, but according to Tanakama, everything is aser. And not like Rav Chizda. Zak the Gemara, and for the Gemara, Kula Masnis in the Mishnah and the Brisa is all one thing. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Katanila. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel is being fired to Brisa. The Gemara is saying the whole thing is Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Katanila. This it says in the Mishnah Aser, that's Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. And it's only going into Sefes. And it says in the Brisa, and this it says in the Brisa is also Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. Because we thought before that the Mishnah is Tanakama or Shimon Gamliel is being Moisef. No. So Gemara, no, everything is Shimon Gamliel. But Oibezoi, the Gemara has a shver that Rabba seems to have accepted Rav Chizda's teretz that says that everything is Shimon Gamliel and only the Gadol becomes Aser at Tosefes and not the Iker. But Oibezoi shver Rabbi Yochanan says that the Iker is Batal L'Gabei Gedulim and the whole thing becomes Aser. So on that, Rabbah says, Va'ad kan, lo shamat leiler Rav Shimon Gamliel, the loy katarach, ala hecha de katarach batal beruba. Saying even after Rav Chizda's pshat, lo shamat leiler Rav Shimon Gamliel, this Rav Shimon Gamliel says that the ikar is not batal, is only in the oifin the loy katarach. That he did not try to do a maisa in the ikar in order to mevatel it. Like in the case of Shimon Gamliel, that Gesham rainwater just fell on them by themselves, and something they have by itself. But the place where he tried to do a maisa to mevatel the ikar. For instance, if he replanted it, if he took the ikar and went ahead and replanted it, then in such a case, Shimon Gamliel's masking that the ikar is batal to the roid and like Rabbi Yochanan. So he's like Rabba, according to Rabbi Yochanan, that's how he's going to make Rabbi Shimon Gamliel shtem. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel been masking, if you do a maisa with the ikar and replant it, and then it doesn't go basal the gidol. And Oibezoi, if the gidol is just a shvius, the whole thing would taka become aser. So now the Gemara is going to ask us, the Gemara of the katarach. Batal Beruba, are you going to tell me that any time that you do Maisa, it's Takani Batal Roiv? Vaharei, we learned before in Daf Nuches and Beis, said Litra Meiser Tevel, if you have a litra of Paris of Meiser Rishon, that's Tevel, that you still did not give to the Levi any Trumas Meiser, and you planted in the ground while still Tevel before the Shvias. And then it grew on Shvias Gedulim that are pater from Meiser. So what's the halacha? Right, the halacha is that Shvias is pairs are hefker, the pater from Meiser, and Gedulim and the Iker together grew to much bigger. What's the halacha? In this case, you did katarach. He did a Maisa. He replanted it. It says on that original litra. You have to give Meiser from other payers, Meiser Rishon, that you have in another area that you still did not give Truma on. Lefi Cheshbon, Kafi the Shir, that you have to give Madrish from that litra. So although you say you were matrech, you did a meiser to replant the ikr and to vatal gedulei shvius, you see it's not batal, and it still blibes with the original isser. So it's a kasha on the last concept that Rabbah tried to be miyashiv to say that Rabbi Shmuel was going to shimmer Rabbi Yochanan. Zak Gemara shani gam meiser damakra as ta'aser, saying no, meiser is different because the pasuk said the var in Paragidal pasuk of Beis aser ta'aser eis kol tavu asarecha. And you learn out from this pasuk. So we learn out aser to aser is kol tvuah zarecha. The dafka your plantings that are normal things to be planted, we say is batal legabi gedulim. Davar hatera zariyenji. Things that are normally planted are things that are of haterim. But isura, if you take an iser from that was already tevel lo zariyenji. It's not normal things to plant, so that does not go. That's not included in the isser, that does not get included in the heter, that if you replant something that's isser, then it should be batal and go basa gedulim. You learn out the only time you say that the ikr goes basa gedulim is only by something that is normal to plant. But isura loy zari inji, that does not go into the regular concept of tuas arecha, so therefore it would not be batal, and if it had a chi of meiser before, that chi of meiser would never go away. So therefore, Rabbi Yochanan holds that a liter b'salm that you misak and you tried and you replanted it, which is a davar shel heter, then it's batal legabi gedulim, and you give meiser on the whole thing. But a liter meiser took a liter meiser of tevel that you planted it when it was isser, that does not become batal and gedulim of that a putter on shvius, because it stays with its status because it was something that's not considered zarecha, and therefore you still chayav to give meiser on the ikr, and the isser did not go away, although you have gedulim of heter in shvius.